I never imagined it would end like that. 1 minute, I was brushing him off, calling him overly sensitive, too emotional. And the next, he was standing at the foot of our bed, quietly packing a suitcase like I was just a chapter he'd finished reading. Like I was a stranger. My name is Emily. I'm 27. And if I could undo just one moment in the tangled mess of my choices, it would be the night I defended someone who didn't deserve it, instead of standing beside the man who loved me more deeply than I had ever truly understood. It started like most regrets, without warning. A lazy Sunday a couple of years ago. I was late to brunch, typical me, and by the time I walked into the cafe, Noah was already halfway through his second mimosa. He looked up, flashed that easy grin, and tossed me a compliment. Something about how even lateness looked good on me. That was Noah. Effortless charm. He'd been in my life since high school, always around, always familiar. He'd seen every part of me, the ugly heartbreaks, the 2 a.m. breakdowns, the mistakes I kept making. We kissed once, maybe twice, but it was never serious, not for me. He was my comfort zone, my emotional landing pad. The person I could call in the middle of a storm. And then came Jacob. He wasn't flashy. He didn't have Noah's effortless magnetism. But he had something else, quiet steadiness, a kind of presence that calmed the noise in my chest. He was a civil engineer who spoke about roads and bridges, with this poetic seriousness that somehow made infrastructure sound romantic. We met at a wedding. He spilled red wine on me and apologized like he'd just committed a crime against royalty. That moment stretched into a conversation, a date, and then something real. The first 6 months with Jacob were golden. He learned how I like my coffee without asking twice. He brought flowers just because. He didn't flinch at my chaos. He held me through panic attacks and late-night tears like it was the most natural thing in the world. He even welcomed Noah into the picture at first. Tried to trust me. But Noah didn't make it easy. He mocked Jacob, called him Mr. Spreadsheet behind his back. Made jokes about always being my number one. And I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because a part of me liked it. The attention, the history, the nostalgia. Jacob never raised his voice, never demanded, but I could see the worry in his eyes. Sometimes he'd ask, "Did you ever feel anything real for Noah?" I'd laugh, tell him not to be silly. I'd say, "He's just a friend." But I knew better. And then the messages started. 1 a.m. texts. Old memes, inside jokes. The kind that only made sense if you knew what happened that summer night. Years ago. The one we never talked about. I started turning my phone face down at night. Told myself it was to avoid arguments. But the truth, I didn't want to face what I already knew deep down. Then came the night I lied. Jacob's birthday was approaching. I told him I had to work late. In reality, I was at Noah's place. We watched a movie, just that. No touching, no lines crossed. But when Noah leaned in and whispered, "I miss how it used to be," something inside me twisted. Not with excitement, but guilt. The next morning, Jacob made pancakes. Kissed my forehead. Told me he loved me. I wanted to confess, but I swallowed it. Stayed quiet. Guilty, but not guilty enough. 2 weeks later, he looked at me like he'd finally stopped hoping. "I love you," he said. "But I need you to block Noah. Not because I want to control you. Because it feels like he's in this relationship with us. And I'm tired of being the outsider in my own life." I laughed. I mocked the idea. Called him insecure. He didn't yell. Didn't beg. Just nodded. Calm. So calm it terrified me. And started packing. I followed him, tried to stop him. Pleaded, cried, screamed. None of it mattered. "This isn't just about Noah," he said, shoulders heavy but voice steady. "It's about how you made me feel like setting boundaries made me weak. Like I was the problem. I'm not." And then he left. No slammed doors. No goodbye. Just silence. That night, Noah came over. I thought maybe it would make me feel less alone. Less hollow. But he barely looked up from his phone. Didn't ask how I was. Didn't stay. That's when it hit me. He'd never been my safety net. He was just a distraction. The thrill of secrecy. And when the secrecy was gone, so was the thrill. So was he. A month passed. Then 2. No word from Jacob. I broke down and sent a long email, poured my soul into it. No reply. I heard through someone that he'd moved into his own place. Started hitting the gym. Posted a picture with his sister's dog smiling. Me. I fell apart. I cut ties with Noah. Deleted every text, every photo, every joke. Started therapy. Faced the wreckage I'd ignored for years. 9 months later, I'm seeing someone new. Slowly, gently. I'm careful now. Softer with others. Firmer with myself. But I still think about Jacob. Not because I want to go back, but because he taught me what real love looks like. Love that sets boundaries. Love that doesn't demand attention but deserves respect. Love that knows when to walk away. Not because it wants to leave, but because staying would mean abandoning yourself. I used to think blocking someone was petty. Now I see it as strength. It's not always about cutting people off. It's about choosing peace over chaos. Choosing yourself over the past. Jacob wasn't being weak when he walked away. He was being brave. And when he left, he wasn't giving up. He was finally choosing himself.